this isn't another cry for help. I want you to know that I'm thinking about you. I hope you think of me too sometimes.
I can't imagine how difficult it must be for you to be back home. Your sister is dead.
Destruction came so naturally to you. The person you were becoming scared me. How can I still feel you? Will you ever forgive me?
I love you, kiddo. Always and forever.
Mm-hmm.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, so excited to have with us here today the director and stars of a brand new film called I Seen All I Need to See. Zeshaan Younus, Renee Gagner, and Rosie McDonald. Everybody say hello.
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 And yeah, I got all those names right only because I asked before I hit record because I'm not an idiot. This is a very, how do I put this? Unique and haunting film. There's a specter over this whole thing, and I'm not even talking about any particular character. I'm just talking about the entire movie sort of feels like everything is inside us as an audience. How do you come up with that from a structural standpoint, Zishan? How do you write that?
It's a great question. I think feeling is at the center of it, and I think I kind of approached the script thinking about it as I don't know, like water a little bit. I wanted the film to feel like the reverberations of something. And I think I kind of wrote from the outside in almost. And when you're approaching storytelling through that perspective, I think it lends itself to being a little bit fragmented and esoteric. And I just wrote from feeling. And once I had certain feelings, I had certain images come to mind and character motivations, and everything kind of spiraled out from, the voiceover. And the voiceover plays such a heavy role in this film. And I think it lends itself to being nonlinear when you're kind of in that internal mindscape of a character. I don't know if that answers your question, but I like the way it sounds, so I'm going to stick to it.
No, it sort of does because I think this is one of those times where I think to get it right, the only person who could direct it would be you because you wrote it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah, it's such a personal story, and I've had the privilege of sharing it with so many people, but the one thing I really look for in indie cinema, and I'm always trying to figure out who is behind the camera when I'm watching something at this level. When I know a cast and crew is really working so hard to bring a vision to life, I'm like, I want to know more about the director. I want to know more about the writer. So I think your point is very well received and appreciated because I hope that when people watch this, for better or for worse, they understand who I am better. The way I navigate feelings and the music I listen to and the emotional catharsis that's valuable to me, and maybe how my own brain works a little bit. I would be curious to see what this film looked like in the hands of another director, but thankfully that's not the case. So it's all
You,
mine.
you struck on something that I did want to mention, and that's the music. Like, I sat here and I thought this music seems out of place, but it just totally works. Like, it's just hard. It's basically it's hardcore. It's metal. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we call it there's a lot of gloom and doom in the film, and I really metal and black metal and death metal, they've been such integral parts of my life ever since I was very young, and they've been crucial to me getting through, countless heartbreaks and failures and disappointments. And I wanted to encapsulate that, but also the film has this really heavy shoegaze aspect to it as well. And I think that lends itself to the spectral quality of the film, the liminal quality of the film. And I do think it's interesting. I think it's a genre that is often abused in cinema. It's used as almost like a punchline. And I really wanted to work towards adjusting that so that viewers and audience members could look at metal and the genre in a new way. And what was really interesting was being able to send Rosie and Renee music ahead of time and seeing how brutally it affected their Spotify algorithms for a long time. So that was really fun too.
That's the fun part. For a long time, unless you were Gregor Rocky, you didn't use shoegaze in your soundtrack. So I loved hearing a little bit of that, but a little bit of metal. I'm more of a post-hardcore, hardcore kind of guy. So I like hard driving and screams. So I respected and appreciated that selection.
Awesome.
One last one before I get to our lovely leads here. I wanted to ask you about casting those two. Why were they perfect?
I was able to discover Rosie through a mutual who's also in the film. Sydney McCarthy, who plays the character of June, was actually in an acting class with Rosie. And Rosie was in another film that I really enjoyed the aesthetic of. And I had the capability of watching kind of an earlier cut of it. And I was so impressed by how Rosie was able to command the screen and just be in not only a place, but a feeling. And it felt so effortless, but I know that it's not effortless. And I know it takes so much work and commitment to get to that point. So finding Rosie was very intuitive. And it's so interesting because she's rainbows and butterflies and unicorns and just like everything that's great and beautiful about life. And then we're putting her in this role where she's thrashing around and smoking and drinking and really unveiling these very vulnerable and almost violent layers of character. So I enjoy that contrast as well. And it kind of made me feel like her character Indiana is this coyote that's like locked up in this cage and needs to get out and is not able to get to her natural habitat. um, for Renee, finding the role of Parker was much more challenging. Um, Parker is very much the temperature setter of the film. She has the capability of building mountains and creating oceans with micro expressions, and only Renee was able to bring that sort of nuance to Parker. And I had seen so many tapes and I was really struggling and I was frustrated. And I've said this many times in some of the Q&As we've had, but within 10 seconds of seeing Renee on camera, I was like, oh, this is Parker. And I felt so much relief. And her and I had so many Zoom calls together getting into, I think, the mindset for this project. And one of the things that struck me most about our initial conversation was how much silence there was. We really just kind of sat in this comfortable discussion and contemplation. And I thought, okay, well, there's already trust here and there's already something to build off of. And I don't know, I see a lot of myself in Renee because we're broody and sensitive and intellectual. And yeah, I like sharing space with her creatively. And they both, Rosie and Renee, bring such incredible textures to this film, and it's really been just the greatest privilege to work with them. And I tell them that as often as I can, and it never gets old.
I love that. Now, ladies, why was this the right choice for you to go with? I mean, obviously, you guys have had some really interesting and fun projects in your career, but why was this the next one for you? Either one of you can start.
You want me to go?
Yeah.
Sure. Um, Zeshaan approached me through like a cold email, and I was like, this is totally a robot. Um, Gazer hadn't come out yet, which we were talking about earlier. And so and my career was and still is building. So I saw the email and was like, I don't even care if this is a bot. I'm responding. And then we dove into, he shared the script with me. He had shared some information about the project in that initial email. And I just really resonated with Parker in ways that I don't know if I intellectually understood, which I think is something as an actor you have to listen to of, oh, why am I excited about this? I don't really know. Um, and there were clear elements that I was like I did have an intellectual attachment to of I thought the story was beautiful. It explored family and grief, and those are things that I'm very curious about and yeah, curious about. And then I think too, as a person, I was going through somewhat of a spiritual awakening at the time in my own grief process. So it was a there was a match there that really intrigued me. And like Zeshaan was saying, I think I do have like a very I can be in my head. I can be um
Cerebral.
yeah, cerebral. And I think Parker, with the structure of the film and the poeticness of it, is that a word? Poeticness?
It is
We'll
now.
make it one. Um, yeah, I just felt kindred. So, and then speaking with Zeshaan, I think I could tell how smart and passionate he was and how intentional he was going to be with this film. I think as an actor, you want to, of course, like I was saying, I was excited about someone approaching me about a film, but I'm not just going to say yes to anything in that state. You want to work with someone who really has a vision and who is going to treat you with respect and treat a project with respect and show up in a way that you want to show up in your career, and that matched very clearly. Um, yeah,
I
that was a
love that
long
answer.
answer.
Well said.
Thanks.
Um, yeah, I was also sort of attracted to how much Zishan cared about this project. I think like that is just such an infectious feeling. And of course you want to work with people who are excited about what they're making. Because it does take, it's like such a miracle to make a film and it takes so much. And especially this one, it was over a long period of time. Like we let's see, I guess I sent in a tape like the beginning of 2024. Zishan, tell me if I'm wrong with all of this. Okay, beginning of 2024, we shot our first leg of it 6 months later in June, and then waited another 6 months until November to shoot the Arizona unit. So it was over a span of time where we got to have these really in-depth conversations with Zishan and with each other, with Renee, about these characters and about the relationships. And like that is just such a treat as an actor, especially also when you're working with a script that is so full of these incredible visual and like character driven images and thoughts and words and voiceover that like immediately when I first read the script I was like, oh, this is so interesting. Like, who is this character? Who is somebody who is described as like someone who turns the lights off and drives in the dark and drives in like in the rain in the dark. Sorry, I'm not telling it perfectly right now. But yeah, there's Zishan's initial script just had so many wonderful touch points to latch onto as an actor to be able to build from. And that was really exciting. And Indiana is a character that haven't really had the opportunity to play someone like her. I sort of more so exist in like the comedy kind of space. And so to be trusted and sought, like Zeshaan, also it was a cold email to me, and I was like, oh my gosh, you think I could do this? Like, okay, I think I can do this too. But to be given that opportunity is a real gift and has been such a delightful journey.
Speaking of journey, this film has been on one. It's played 9 or 10 different festivals here in the United States and a couple overseas as well. It is getting a UK release literally today. Still no US release. Is that about right?
So we did start a US theatrical roadshow with a few art house cinemas, and we're going to continue that over the next probably 30 to 45 days. Those are intermittently spotted around the country, kind of just programmed as one night indie spotlights. In the UK, we're getting a more traditional theatrical rollout with some venues, but yeah, we certainly will have some more US screenings. And then we are incredibly lucky through our distributor, Bulldog Films, to be released in all English-speaking territories digitally in June. So pretty remarkable to have that scope of rollout through a distribution arm, especially for a small micro budget film. I mean, we only shot for 10 days, so for us, it's really incredible seeing not only people resonate with the film, but also the fact that people have the opportunity to watch it, which so many indie films don't get that chance.
Mhm.
I was gonna say a lot of indie films do not get that chance. Hopefully, you guys will play out here in Columbus at the Gateway Film Center, one of the best theaters in the country. Um, that would be like the one place you would definitely play this film because people deserve to see this on the big screen, especially here in the United States. It's one of those films that just it looks good on my iPad. It looks even better on a big screen. So I wish I had seen it there.
You watched it on
Um,
your iPad?
I
That's
don't.
what.
How am I going to watch the screener besides my iPad? Half those apps don't work on my TV. You know, I gotta do what I gotta do.
Oh, we appreciate it. We'll take it.
But I wanted to leave you guys with a couple questions I ask all my guests, every single one. You guys are brand new guests to us here at Film Snob Reviews. You've never been here. So the first one's real easy, and you can all answer it in whatever order you want. Who are some people that you guys look to as inspirations and that help you get through your everyday?
Ooh.
I can start. I think that we've been traveling around all these film festivals and it is really incredible, but it's also exhausting. And the thing that truly makes me feel the most centered and excited is literally being able to sit in a movie theater. And there's a film called Memoria. That's one of my favorite films of all time, and the director of Pong. Anytime I can find a way to get to an Pong screening in LA, or I think I traveled one day like 4 hours worth of driving to go watch one of his films in a movie theater. So his work is a huge inspiration to me. Terrence Malick for sure, is somebody that looks at nature and faith and grace in a really interesting way, and I'm an atheist, so it's um, an interesting dichotomy to wrestle with that filmmaker, and it challenges me in really spiritual ways, which I really enjoy. Um, but also, I mean, truly, and I don't mean this to be corny in any way, but like genuinely getting to know Renee and Rosie better over the last, 2 years as we've been working on this has really opened me up as a person and as a director, on many levels. And I've learned so much through their craft and the way that they not only operate on set, but as friends. I mean, they've become very close friends, and it's just such an honor to know myself better because of the people that I've worked with. So I'm gonna end it with those two because they're here and they're important and I appreciate them immensely.
I love that answer. I have to say, I can appreciate Memoria being a film by a Thai director that's completely mostly in Spanish. Uh, that's hard. It's hard to shoot a film in a language you don't speak, so
Totally.
it's even
How
harder to
brave,
write
right?
one.
Crazy brave. Yeah.
Insane. And what about you two?
Your turn to go
Okay,
first.
I'll hop in. Um, so kind, firstly, Zishan,
Yeah.
and ditto to you. Um, I I know, okay. Um, Directors that I have inspiration, like am inspired by, and this was one of like the comp films that Zishan sent me that I was like, oh yeah, we're on the same page. Um, Derek Cianfrance, Place Beyond the Pines. And that was sort of like Zishan was like, look at this character sort of as Indiana vibes. And that was when I knew I was like, I'm gonna like working with Zishan and also on this project. And I also love that film and love that director. Um, and then as far as like just like I think the question was like who keeps you going? And I think like I just feel, I mean, I could list off a lot of other directors that I appreciate and their work, but I'm just so inspired by being able to work with like wonderful people and like people that I really love working with, like in this sort of very independent sphere. Uh it's incredible to be able to make a movie like this, and I think there's so much freedom that comes from working on something that is truly like crowdfunded and independent in that way. And I'm very inspired by Zishan and by like the filmmakers that we've met at all of these festivals who make all of that happen for themselves and like go at it with an idea and without like studio backing, and just to say like this is something that I need to make for my life and for my growth as a human and artist. And I'm very inspired by that.
I love that. That's a great answer.
Yeah.
And last but certainly not least, Renee.
Mhm. I like Zishan's little laughing hands. Yeah, that's a phenomenal answer. And I think I totally resonate with it. I think that the fact that people can say, I have this idea that I really care about and I love, and it needs to come out of me. And I'm not really sure how this is going to happen. I'm going to start, and then I'm going to ask people if they want to join and they want to hang and they want to create. And on all levels of that scope, I think it's wonderful and it's miraculous. And I think as an artist, as a person, I am there's something about the fortitude to just say, this is how I think and feel about things, and I'm going to share that, and I'm not really going to care. Or I want to make an impact on people, and I want to feel like I'm connecting more with people, and I'm giving people an opportunity to see themselves more. Um, and that's the impact. And I think working in indie film has been such a blessing in that because it teaches you all of those lessons. It's not commercial. It's not for anything other than love, really. Um, and trying to connect humanity. And so I've found myself really drawn to things that crack me open. Um, and just having to expand in that way. I watched It Was Just an Accident last night, and I learned, you learn so much in watching something about a culture that I've never had a firsthand experience with, and that people have lived these intense, full lives with certain circumstances, and you just get to sit there and watch this art and learn and grow, and be heartbroken. Um, and then I also like to read. I read a lot. Um, What am I reading right now? I really like Pema Chodron. She is a Buddhist monk. Um, Joan Didion, Patti Smith. They just have ways of expressing that I sometimes don't understand, but really want to understand. I'm like, you're onto something here, and I feel like I resonate. Let's let's give me more.
Can definitely
Uh,
get behind those Patti Smith vibes.
yeah, I love Patti Smith. Just Kids was very influential for me.
I have to say, normally I just say like, "Hey, it's my mom," and then we're good. But your guys'
Ew.
answers were so deep and cerebral.
My mom
Um,
too. My mom too.
Yeah, shout out to all of our
And
moms for
shout
their
out
own.
Shout
moms.
out to
Yeah.
everyone's mom because moms are the greatest. It's the hardest job in the world.
Yeah. I mean, I that's so we I hear.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's I can't ever be a mom, so no. Uh, no, I
You
will
can be
say
spiritually, maybe. You can spiritually be a mom. Yeah.
I
You're
am
taking care of all of us right now. So,
Mother.
essence of
That's
mom right
true.
here. Yeah,
yeah.
That is true.
I'm big mothering right now.
Oh, yeah.
I will say that the second question is a lot more fun and less cerebral, and it's very simple. If there were only two films you could watch for the rest of your life, what two would you pick and why? And I think Zeshaan, we already got one of yours.
Oh, the other one would be Mortal Kombat.
Yes, Paul W.S. Anderson.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah,
Of
what a
course.
piece of garbage. I love it.
Dude, I don't even think it's garbage. It was so foundationally formative to my life. And I just rewatched it and I was like, man, I was glued to the screen. Like that shit
It's
rips.
it's a masterpiece.
Yeah.
It is, but it's like not good. But it's beautiful. You know what I mean?
So Memoria and Mortal Kombat.
God, those are the exact opposite ends of filmmaking, and it's so beautiful. The dichotomy of those two is so good. I love that answer. That might be one of my favorite answers to that question. And I've
I'll
asked that
take it.
question almost 500 times.
I'll take it.
What about you, ladies?
Oh, this is like so
Okay.
it's such a hard question.
Yeah, it is.
Um, there's so many movies that are like so close to my heart and that like if it's like a just like a joyful movie, like Bring It On.
That's a good pick. That's a
Yes.
great pick.
I love that movie. And then I like want to say like a cool other serious movie, but like Jim Carrey just always is like right there. And growing up, Liar Liar was we watched it too young
You know, I
and
can
many
quote that
times.
thing back to front, right?
I can. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I can too.
It-
And it's not good. It's not a good thing to do that
no.
because I was probably like maybe 7 years old when it came out. And I'm like, I should not be able to quote this movie back and forth, but I
And
can.
I would quote it when I was a kid in like certain things, and then now I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe I was saying those
It was
things
like, wait, 115? Yeah, in your bra.
in your bra.
And you're like, you should not be able to, like, you should not be saying that. I want to box
Yeah.
those things like Sugar Ray Leonard. Like, you should not be
Yeah.
saying these things.
The one that's like, the boss is really riding me. I thought that was
Oh my God. Me,
hilarious.
I was like
No
the,
idea what it meant.
do you know why I pulled you over? Depends on how long you were following me. And then he just goes off on a tirade of all the different traffic incidences that he definitely got ticketed
Oh,
for.
so
Yeah,
good.
it's what a great movie.
I'm learning a
It's
lot right now. Wow, about both of you. I'm
yeah,
learning a lot right now. Yeah.
we're crazy people, and that's what happens when you put Jim Carrey in front of us. I have a
Jim
Jim Carrey
Carrey
movie
is
on my
good.
list, though. Yeah, he's the best. He's the
Wait,
best.
what's on your list?
Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, and
Yeah.
uh, It Happened One Night.
Oh,
Ooh.
I
nice.
don't know that. What's that?
Oh, allow me to introduce you to one of the greatest movie in the romantic comedy genre because it invented the romantic comedy genre. It Happened One Night. It's from 1934. It stars Clark Gable and Claudette Colbert as two people who shouldn't be together ever because they're both toxic in their own ways. But they do a cross country trip so she can not marry this rich guy, and it's brilliant.
Okay, I wrote it down. Oh, you can't
Yeah,
see it.
and it's
But
on
okay.
Tubi if you want to watch a bad like quality version of it, or
Okay.
you can just
The
buy the
better
Criterion.
quality one is on Criterion, so you
Just
can
I
I
got
own the
that.
Criterion Blu-ray, of course I do, with the
yeah.
full Frank Capra documentary attached to it, and you guys should definitely watch that one. That one's much better. Go to your local library; it's probably there.
Love
Noted.
that. Love
right?
that. Yeah, Jim Carrey is the best though too. I don't know if he's on my list of my two films, but the first one I would say is Waiting for Guffman.
Yeah.
It makes me laugh so much
Yeah.
that I think it's important to have a comedy in there if you're going to be watching it for the rest of your life. And it always makes me laugh. I think it's so funny.
Christopher
I love
Guest is a
all of the,
genius.
oh, it's so brilliant. I want to be in that club. Like I want to go back in time and just like
Yeah.
be in one of those movies and then be in all of those movies because I think they're so funny. And then the other one I would say Dead Poet Society as like
Oh,
sort of like a straight to the heart.
Yeah.
Here's your life. Go make something of it.
Carpe
Um,
Diem.
Carpe diem. Yeah.
I love that pick. I just showed my niece and she's 15. I showed her that film and she loved it. She was in love with it. She made me directly tell her what the next Peter Weir movie was, which was Truman Show, and we watched that one right after.
That's a good
I
one.
love Dead Poet Society. That whole speech where he goes off about why poetry is important and necessary to the human experience is one of my favorite scenes in movie history. So that's a great pick. I love those two picks.
I think
Yes.
we crushed that. Great job, everybody.
We nailed it. We nailed
You
it.
Yeah,
guys definitely nailed
absolutely.
that. Now, I'm going to give you a 30-second elevator pitch. Why should people check out this movie right here when it comes out? Well, it's out now. Why should they check it out now that it's out? Give me 30 seconds. You're on an elevator with somebody. Why should they check out I've Seen All I Need to See? And go.
I would say it's unlike anything they've ever seen. You know, I think it's an experimental ghost story. It's emotional, it's dynamic, it's spectral, and it has some really incredible performances, and it looks pretty fucking beautiful. I'll give it that too. And then my elevator opens and I just run out into the street. And,
Yes.
and then Rosie walks in and she has to pitch the same thing. So go ahead, Rosie.
Okay, ready? And boop,
Go.
doors closed. Okay, I think we spend way too much time on our phones and spending 84 minutes looking at our lives is important and going through uh like this empathetic feeling of grieving with these characters. I think this film is special. It is unlike anything you've ever seen, and it allows for so much meditation time where you can feel your life and see your life, and I think that's worthwhile for everyone.
Yeah.
The
Love it.
doors close.
Elevator doors,
Renee runs in.
third floor.
Um, I think that if you can allow yourself to open your heart, crack open and sit with something and learn something about yourself and something maybe you weren't expecting, um, it's a great film to do that with. It's a very special film to do that with. And I promise you will leave feeling something, even if it is anger.
Wonderfully done. Now, luckily for you guys, the fourth floor is the theater, so they're definitely going to go check out. I've seen all I need to see. 84 minutes is the perfect time that a movie should take. So I love that. Good edit. And also shout out to Justin Moore, the cinematographer, because this
Yes.
thing looks
Incredible.
incredible. Um, thank you guys so much for a little bit of your time today. It was I love that. I love when I get like 20 minutes and then we make it 30 minutes because we're just having a good conversation. Those are my favorite interviews. So thank you guys so much. It's one of my favorite interviews I've done all year. I really appreciate you guys taking the time to even, let us into this weird world that you guys created.
Thank you so much. What a pleasure to talk to you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
No
that's
one's ever
good.
said that. So I can
What?
That's why we're your favorite interview.
no one ever says that guy's a real joy. No, it's usually God, that guy again. I freaking hate that guy.
Their
No.
Oh,
loss.
we love
Why
it. Thank
I
you for
oughta
your
don't let me
question.
find them, you know.
Right. I mean, I can fist fight him myself. It's fun.
There you
But
go.
I'm going to go ahead and stop this recording. So thank you guys so much for Film Stop Reviews. This has been William, and thanks every single one of you for joining us. We appreciate you.